20th Annual Cadet Inspection of the number 142 St. Andrews College Highland Cadet Corps. My name is David Stewart and I will be your MC for today's parade. This afternoon, in addition to our inspection, we will honor and recognize some of our finest cadets for their outstanding achievements this year. And most importantly, the annual cadet inspection is the graduation parade for our grade 12 cadets as members of the largest and finest cadet corps in the country, the number 142 St. Andrews College Highland Cadet Corps. We also have middle school representation this year as well. Students from our grade 8 leadership and training program have worked all year learning the skills needed to be the corps leaders of tomorrow. In the foyer of Laverne Arena, you'll see the demonstration of learning this year. Please have a look at their accomplishments. But first, before we march the corps onto the square, we'd like to share with you the wonderful talents of our musicians during our musical tattoo. The St. Andrews College Symphonic Band is an intermediate ensemble that consists of mainly grade 9 and 10 students. The band rehearses twice a week and participates in numerous concerts throughout the year, including Angry Christmas, Spring Showcase, Focus, and of course, the annual inspection. The Symphonic Band fosters leadership amongst its members through its appointment of section leaders and band managers. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Symphonic Band under the direction of Mr. Eric McMillan. The first bagpipes were given to the college in 1915, and shortly thereafter, the pipes and drums of St. Andrew's College were organized. Through the years, the band has continued this historical Scottish tradition as a distinctive feature of the Cadet Corps. The band and its members have represented the college most ably at many ceremonial gatherings and parades. Over 75 cadets are currently participating in the piping and drumming program. In addition to the school pipe band, members are involved in civilian competition bands during the summer. The band's leadership consists of pipe major Andy Yang, drum major Marcus Canute, and lead drummer Tristan Moreno. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the number 142 St. Andrew's College Highland Cadet Corps Pipes and Drums! Up next is the St. Andrews College Wind Ensemble, made up of 45 talented grade 11 and grade 12 musicians. This afternoon, they'll perform a dynamic mix of music from TV, film, and Broadway, including the witty theme from Family Guy, the electrifying mambo, and the soaring anthem, How Far I'll Go, from the movie Moana. They'll close with ABBA on Broadway, a medley of hits from Mamma Mia, this year's Focus Festival production at Worth Theater. Ladies and gentlemen, under the direction of Mr. Dan Horner, please welcome the St. Andrews College Wind Ensemble. Corps has been formed up under the command of the Regimental Sergeant Major, Chief Warrant Officer Clark Preston. To the east of the arena, you will have seen the cadet officers promenading while the parade is properly prepared. Members of the Corps wear the distinctive scarlet tunics of our affiliate unit, the 48th Highlanders of Canada, and kilts of the modern Gordon Tartan, indicating our ties to our allied unit, the Gordon Highlanders in Scotland. In 2004, the Gordon Highlanders amalgamated with the Camerons, the Seaforths, and the Black Watch to form the Royal Regiment of Scotland. Vincent Massey, who was later to become Canada's first native-born Governor-General, was the first cadet commanding officer of the Corps when it was founded in 1905. I would like to take this opportunity to introduce the reviewing officer for today's inspection, Brigadier General J.W. Robinson. Brigadier General Joe Robinson was born and raised in London, Ontario. Enrolling in the Canadian Armed Forces in 1990, he graduated from McMaster University under the subsidized University Entry Program in 1992 and was commissioned as an infantry officer into 2nd Battalion, the Royal Canadian Regiment. He has had the privilege of commanding from the platoon to the formation level in both the regular and reserve force, most notably commanding the 4th Battalion, the Royal Canadian Regiment, the 31st Brigade Territorial Battalion Group, and the 31st Canadian Brigade Group from 2019 to 2022. His extra regimental assignments include Assistant Chief of Staff, Operations 31 Canadian Brigade Group, Civilian Military Leadership Pilot Initiative Staff Officer, Commanding Officer 31 Canadian Brigade Group Battle School, and Assistant Chief of Staff Personnel Support at 4 Canadian Division Headquarters. Brigadier General Robinson deployed to Haiti on Op Hamlet in 2011 as a CIMIC Assessment Officer for MINUSCA, with a specific focus on internally disabled persons camp security and support for orphanage assistance in the wake of the 2010 earthquake. Brigadier General Robinson holds BAs in Anthropology and History from McMaster University, a Master's in Education from Western University, and a Master's in Defense Studies from the Royal Military College of Canada. He is supported by a strong and very patient wife, and the couple has 2 children. Brigadier General Robinson spends his spare time coaching high school football. We are honored to have Brigadier General Robinson as our reviewing officer for the 120th Cadet Inspection. There are 8 companies on parade today. 4 companies are comprised of boarding students and 4 companies of students from day boy houses. Our youngest group of cadets in the new Grade 8 Leadership and Training Program have prepared a display and demonstration of learning in the arena lobby. In your program, you will find listed the officers and company sergeant majors for each company and platoon. As the parade forms up on the east side of the arena, Smith Company will be to your left. They earn this position of honor by winning the Brian Armstrong Trophy for Best Company in 2024. Once the corps is in place, the regimental sergeant major will call for the open order march, the elbow right dress, and then stand the battalion at ease.
2nd Battalion, rear rank, steady.
The regimental sergeant major has called the parade to attention as the adjutant approaches. The cadet adjutant this year is Cadet Major Bennett Shackler. At this point, the RSM will report the parade state of the battalion and turn the parade over to the adjutant. He then marches to his position on the right flank of the battalion.
Stand at ease. Parade! Attention!
The Deputy Cadet Commanding Officer, or DCO, will now march out and take over the parade from the adjutant, who will provide a report of the parade state to the DCO. This year's Deputy Commanding Officer is Cadet Major Andy Wang. The Deputy Commanding Officer is now preparing for the march on of the officers. The cadet officers are carrying swords donated in 1998 by Major John Stewart of the class of '78 and engraved with the names of the 153 St. Andrews Old Boys who died in World War I and World War II. In 2013, Major John Stewart donated the new set of drill canes for our company sergeant majors. We'd like to express our sincere gratitude to Major Stewart for his continuous generosity and support. The drill cane carried by the RSM was presented to the Corps in 2019 by retired York Region Chief of Police and SAC Old Boy, Eric Jolliffe. The drill cane carried by the Drill Sergeant Major was presented by the warrant and sergeants of our affiliated unit, the 48th Highlanders of Canada. The DCO will now order the bugler to sound the officer's call.
Bugler! Sound all the officers! Officers! Right turn! By the center, quick, march! Officers! A work turn! Fall in! Memorial Company, stand at ease. Cadet Company, stand at ease. Ranger Company, stand at ease. Memorial Company, stand at ease. Gridlock Company, stand at ease. Shifting Company, stand at ease. McDonald Company, stand at ease. Sergeant Drugs, stand at ease.
The DCO will now await the cadet commanding officer who will take over the parade. The cadet commanding officer this year is Cadet Lieutenant Colonel Liam Milanov. The cadet commanding officer will now call for the flag party to march on. The flag party is under the command of Lieutenant Brandon Simmons. There are two flags in the flag party. The special white Corps flag was donated to the Corps by the Hauser family in honor of Harry B. Hauser, class of 1903. The Leonville rifles used by the flag party were donated by Lieutenant Colonel Len Wines on behalf of the Royal Canadian Legion. The flags are marched across the front of the entire battalion so that each cadet will be able to see and recognize them, and then moves to its position in the center of the battalion line. Please stand for the march onto the flag party and remain standing for the general salute to our reviewing officer.
Sound march on flag! Mr. Simmons! March on flag! Two flags, present arms! Flag party, by the center, quick march!
Please be seated while the reviewing party inspects the Corps. Our reviewing party consists of our reviewing officer, Brigadier General J.W. Robinson, Deputy Commander, 4th Canadian Division. Chief Warrant Officer Coy, Division Sergeant Major, 4th Canadian Division. Major Vincent Lorella, Deputy Commanding Officer, 48th Highlanders of Canada. Major Brian McHugh, Commanding Officer of the No. 142 Highland Cadet Corps. Lieutenant Commander Nicole Monti, representing RSCU Central. Mr. Mark Etherington, Chairman of the Board of Governors of St. Andrews College, and Mr. Kevin McHenry, Head of School of St. Andrews College.
Cadet Company, attention! Ramsey Company, attention! Memorial Company, close order, march! Stand at ease! Ramsey Company, close order, march! Stand at ease!
Memorial Company, attention!
With the inspection of the Corps completed, the Cadet Commanding Officer will now ask for permission to do a march past. Please stand for the march past. In command of Smith Company, Captain Owen Cawley. In command of Memorial Company, Captain James Rowan.
In succession, my company! I front! Smith Company, my platoon! I front! What
In command of Mary Company, Captain
front!
John of our family.
Royal Company,
In command of Ramsey Company, Captain Mateo Alonso. In command of Football Company, Captain Nolan Martin. In command of Football Company, Captain Hugh King. In command of System Company, Captain Arinze Genius. In command of Football Company, Captain Nixon Ball.
Safety Company, intersection by platoon, eyes front. One platoon, eyes front. Two platoon, eyes front.
Royal Company, intersection by platoon, eyes front.
One platoon, eyes front. Two platoon, eyes front.
Please be seated. At this time, I would like to introduce the commanding officer of the number 142 St. Andrews College Highland Cadet Corps, Major Brian McHugh.
Brigadier General Robinson, Your Worship Mayor Tom Rackus, Lieutenant Commander Nicole Monteith, Head of School Mr. McHenry, Chairman Martin Rington, invited guests, friends, and cadets. I'd like to thank you all for joining us here today at our 120th Annual Cadet Inspection. Congratulations, boys, for a fine turnout today. Just a few weeks ago, we were reviewing how to stand at attention and open mortar march. Some of you have never worn a kilt before, but certainly not a scarlet tunic. But here you are, looking absolutely splendid in your Highland uniforms. The leadership journey started for each of you back in September with the fall camps. And over the first and second terms on Thursdays, we focused on developing skills in outdoor expedition, high and low ropes training, marksmanship, archery, mountain biking, snowshoeing, cross-country skiing, leadership psychology, nutrition, personal fitness, and staff cadet duties for the grade 12 cadets, bringing the leadership journey completely full circle with our senior cadets teaching and mentoring our junior cadets. 28 cadets enrolled in the Master Cadet Program, which focuses on advanced skills such as leadership and command training, instructional techniques, conflict resolution, and senior parade leadership in order to develop the senior leaders of the 142 Highland Cadet Corps, the largest and finest cadet corps in Canada. To our graduating cadets, this is your day. Enjoy every minute of it. You have given years of time and effort to the Corps. You have embodied our regimental motto, Delius Cabrat, faithful forever. Congratulations on a job well done. And to our parents and friends, thank you for your support on the home front. Without you, we wouldn't have a cadet corps to celebrate, and we wouldn't have these great moments together cheering on the leaders of the future. So a huge Delius Cabrat to you, the parents, for your trust and support. I would like to thank our excellent musicians for a wonderful musical tattoo to open our ceremony today. I want to mention specifically our pipe major Andy Yang, drum major Marcus Knut, our lead drummer Christian Moretto, and the Corps buglers Noah Student and Stephen Yu for their service to the Corps this year. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in a round of applause for all our cadets. Now, I know it's a hard brace for it, so company commanders, at your own discretion if you wish your company to have a little knee bend or something, carry on, all right? So feel free. An Army Cadet Corps of this size requires tremendous help from our own dedicated faculty and CIC Reserve officers. I'd like to thank my team of officers, civilian instructors, and volunteers, and I would like to ask that our faculty coaches and CIC officers step out onto the square for a moment and just give a big wave to the audience. Be brave. Come on in. I see you up here. Come on in. Yeah, step up. Come on in. Here we go. Here we go. Just to put it into context, we have 37 staff members and cadet instructor officers on board to run our training programs, and that is absolutely unbelievable. So thank you all. I would also like to recognize the support provided by our affiliated unit, the 48 Highlanders of Canada. Today we are honored to have with us the Deputy Commanding Officer of the 48 Highlanders, Major Vincent Varela. Also with us today is the Area Elemental Advisor, Lieutenant Commander Nicole Monteith, representing the Commanding Officer of the Central Region Support Unit at Base Border. We are pleased to welcome His Worship the Mayor of Aurora, Mr. Tom Rackus, and my heartfelt thanks to our Reviewing Officer, Brigadier General Robinson, the Deputy Commander of 4th Canadian Division, for taking time out of his busy schedule to be here with us today. Also, I'd like to welcome the Division Sergeant Major, Chief Warrant Officer Mike Hoyt, to our annual cadet inspection today as well. Thank you to all the friends and supporters of the 142 St. Andrews College Highland Cadet Corps. Lastly, I would like to welcome home all the old boys here today. It is truly wonderful to see our former cadets come back to see the new guard in action. So I'm going to ask, I love big waves, so you might get that feeling. If you are a former St. Andrews cadet here today, please stand and give us a big wave to the boys so they can see you. Thank you so much. The annual cadet inspection provides an opportunity for us to recognize outstanding achievements by individuals and groups. Most importantly, it is the graduation parade for our senior cadets from the 142 St. Andrews College Highland Cadet Corps. The 48 Highlands of Canada Trophy for the Best Pipe Band Cadet was inaugurated in 2010 by Honorary Colonel John Newman in memory of his father, Major Maitland Fuller Newman. Major Newman attended St. Andrews College from 1904 to 1908. He joined the 15th Battalion, 48 Highlands of Canada, and served with the Canadian Expeditionary Force from 1914 to 1918. Despite being wounded at Vimy Ridge, he returned to serve with the 2nd Battalion, 48 Highlanders of Canada from 1940 to 1945. The trophy is awarded to the best pipe band cadet and the young man that excels in musical ability, drill, dress, and deportment, and is proven to be a role model to his fellow bandsmen. The winner this year has been an outstanding leader and a committed member of the Pipes and Drums. He carries out duties diligently and ensures that the entire band is well prepared for each performance. When not leading the band as the drum major, he is performing as a snare drummer in the senior drum corps. I would like to ask the director of the Pipes and Drums, Mr. Matt McIsaac, to present the 48 Highlanders of Canada Trophy to this year's winner, drum major Marcus Canute. The J.L. Wern Trophy is presented to the best upper school cadet. This year's winner is a third-year cadet in the Corps. He was a top student in his grade 10 Leadership in Action program with a 95% average. In addition, he's been an outstanding cadet on the parade, and he is a positive role model to his peers. I would like to invite the Deputy Commanding Officer of the 48th Highlanders of Canada, Major Vincent Varela, to present the trophy. The winner of the J.L. Wright Trophy for the best upper school cadet, please come forward, Master Corporal Harrison Nang. The Rothwell Family Leadership Award is presented to the students who best exemplify the leadership traits presented in the Advanced Leadership segment of the Grade 12 Leadership course. These students were leading contributors during their time in the course and applied the leadership concepts to each area of life as an engine in our community, leading by example without regard for being entitled to do so. This award was donated by the late John Rothwell and his wife Marina, parents of Sandy, class of 2000, and Joseph and Nathan, both of class of 2003. I would like to invite Mr. Luke Medill, the Chief Instructor of the Advanced Leadership Program, to present the awards. This year, we have two winners of the Rothwell Family Leadership Award. Please come forward. From Flavel Company, Captain Nolan Martin, and from Memorial Company, Sergeant Luke Sinclair. Gord Marshall Leadership Award was established in 2010 and is presented to the graduating staff cadet who has demonstrated outstanding leadership for the cadets under his command. This award is in memory of Gordon Marshall, class of 1984, cadet captain in his graduating year, and best middle school cadet in 1978. A loyal supporter of cadets at SAC, Gord graduated from the Royal Roads Military Academy in 1989. The award will be supported in perpetuity by an endowed fund which was established by the Gordon's family and friends at the time of his death in 2009. The trophy is accompanied by a special keeper prize for the recipient called a quake. The Scottish quake is a special kind of shallow, two-handled drinking cup, and is often presented for ceremonial prizes and awards. This quake has been specially inscribed with the SAC crest to remind the recipient of his accomplishments in leadership with the 142 St. Andrews College Highland Cadet Corps. I would like to invite Gord's brother, Mr. Ken Marshall, to present this year's award. This year, we've had an exemplary group of staff cadet leaders. Many of our young men are worthy of recognition for their outstanding leadership. This was a very, very difficult choice, and some excellent candidates. The winner of the Gord Marshall Leadership Award is presented to a young man that has given his full attention to leading both his subordinates and his peers throughout the training program, ceremonial duties, and as a chief instructor with the Master Cadet program. He began the training year as the Operations Board Officer, and through his diligent work ethic, professionalism, and concern for excellence in training, he was promoted to the rank of lieutenant and appointed Deputy Operations Officer. The winner of the Gord Marshall Leadership Award from Memorial Company, Lieutenant Will Cavallo. The Ellsworth Trophy for the best platoon is presented to the individual platoon that has given their best effort during training and ceremonial parades this spring. I would like to invite the Chair of the Board of Governors of St. Andrews College, Mr. Mark Etherington, to make the presentation of the Ellsworth Trophy. Again, I want to emphasize, absolutely all of you have been tremendous on parades over the last 10 days and over the last 5 weeks that we've been training. So congratulations to all of you. You all deserve prizes to be winners. The winner of the Ellsworth Trophy, the best platoon, is a group of our youngest cadets that have demonstrated outstanding teamwork, drive, and motivation on parade and during all practices. Please come forward. Number 2 Platoon, McDonald Company, please come forward, Captain Nixon Ball, and Platoon Commander Lieutenant Otto Carr Cooper. Our final award today is the Brian G. Armstrong Trophy. Mr. Brian G. Armstrong, class of 1961, was a member of our Board of Governors from 1976 to 2005 and Board Chairman from 1996 to 2005. On his retirement from the Board, the school dedicated a trophy to the best company in his honor. I'd like to congratulate all the companies for a tremendously successful year and for giving your full effort these past few weeks on parade. The winning company this year demonstrated outstanding effort, morale, and esprit de corps. Their leadership team helped raise the bar significantly in their drill, dress, and deportment throughout the term. The company as a whole put forth exemplary effort for each of our ceremonial events. I would like to invite our reviewing officer, Brigadier General Robinson, to present the Brian G. Armstrong Trophy. This year's winner, please come forward, Company Commander Captain Milan Agassi Elder and Company Sergeant Major Hank Clymer to accept the trophy for Perry and Company. At this time, I would like to invite our reviewing officer, Brigadier General Robinson, to address the court.
Thank you very much, Major Q. Your Worship, Headmaster, cadets, guests, and serving members in the audience. I promise to keep my remarks brief, because there's only one thing worse than listening to a general officer, and that's listening to a general officer while you're standing on the parade square. So, all kidding aside. So, I'd like to thank the Corps for the invitation to come and be here. The invitation originally went out to the Divisional Commander, General Oberworth, who was unfortunately not able to be here through prior operational commitments. And then it fell to me, and to be frank, I was quite glad that he wasn't able to be here, because as a former cadet myself, not in this Corps, but in another Corps, I always like to come and review cadet corps and see the state of the Army Cadet Corps across the province. And so, I'd like to talk a little bit about kind of two things, and I promise to keep it brief there. The first one is, when I joined the Cadet Corps in London, Ontario at the age of 12 years old, I really had no idea what I was getting into. But my time between 12 and 18 formed the foundation on which, I decided to join the regular Army and then transfer to the Army Reserve and end up in the position that I'm at right now, being humbled by being in front of you as young men who are serving the Cadet Corps and heading off into their life moving forward. And most certainly, I'd like to congratulate you for how you appear and present yourself on parade today. And it is absolutely phenomenal and exceptional as to how you look at recording yourselves, certainly right now on parade. I would like to say, though, the values of the cadet movement, those of citizenship, leadership, selflessness, determination, and discipline, these are all values and skills which you are learning, of course, not only in the Cadet Corps, but at St. Andrews College, and that will serve you well in the future. It is no secret that currently the world is in a state of some geopolitical crisis. That we have great issues that are presenting them to our country and to us as a world. And most certainly, these are difficult times. Tough times require tough people. And certainly my spirits are buoyed when I look around and I see and I interact with you young men on parade who, despite you being here at school to be part of this Cadet Corps, are hoisting these issues or hoisting these skills aboard in moving towards where you are going into the future. And whether you take the opportunity to join the Canadian military and hone those skills at that level, or go into the civilian workforce in corporate Canada, our country is going to need those skills as we move forward in the years to come. So as I wrap up here, I'd like to thank you very much for the opportunity for myself and Mr. Coit to be here and be part of this great celebration at the end of your cadet training year and Pro Patriot. Thank you very much.
Sir, thank you very much for attending our parade today as our reviewing officer. On behalf of the officers, NCOs, and cadets, please accept this gift as a small token of our appreciation.
Today marks a special day as we graduate our Cadet Commanding Officer, Lieutenant Colonel Liam Melanoff, and welcome a new Cadet Commanding Officer, Lieutenant Colonel Jason Roy D. Clement. I would now like to call upon Brigadier General Robinson and Major McHugh to officiate the change of command. Lieutenant Colonel Roy D. Clement, please come forward. In proper military tradition, the battalion will conduct a second march past in honor of the outgoing commanding officer. Following the march past, Cadet Lieutenant Colonel Melanoff will parade past the entire battalion for his final time. We ask you to once again please rise for the march past.
Company, eyes front. Red company, walk down, eyes front. Walk down, eyes front. Eyes front. Memorial Company in succession, 5 and 2. Eyes front. Bible 2, eyes, front, 1, 2.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join in a round of applause as the outgoing CO bids his Highlanders farewell. As the CO marches out, Lieutenant Colonel Roy D. Clement will call the battalion to attention and then calls for the 7-pace advance and general salute. At which point, we ask you to please stand for the 7-pace advance and general salute and remain standing for the departure of the reviewing party and the Canadian and Royal anthems and the march off of the flags. With the departure of our reviewing party, the commanding officer will now order the flags off parade. The commanding officer will now call out the officers and turn the parade over to the regimental sergeant major, who will dismiss the corps.
Slow out! Officers, fall out! Mr. President! Sir! Great way to end the parade, boys. Give yourselves a round of applause to them. Brad, I hope you soaked up every last minute of that. And for everybody else, I hope you guys live on the Indian spirit. But we're gone. Keep it going. This is a great one. So hopefully you guys can do that for every year coming up. Get outside, enjoy the rest of the sun, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Today's your Brad. Parade! Do, do, do.